Hey there. Jade's coming on to introduce us, or no, we'll just introduce ourselves. Hi there. It's Katie and me from Inside AWAI. Welcome.
And it's Pam and me.
Katie Yeakle and Pam Foster from Inside AWAI. This month's topic is very exciting. It's the 3 fastest ways to make money as a writer.
Everybody should have their tennis shoes on today.
That's right. Yes, because you're going to be running after this and go, all right, I can do this. So, whoops, I'm trying to make sure I can advance the slides. There we go. Now, today's agenda is to show you what makes some paths faster and discover the 3 of the fastest paths, and then find out your earning potential for those paths. Talk about how to accelerate your efforts regardless of which path you choose, and then we'll open up the floor for Q&A. But first, I thought we would introduce ourselves. So Katie, take it away.
Sure. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Katie Yeakle, and I am the Executive Director and one of the co-founders of AWAI. Thrilled to be here with you talking about one of my most favorite subjects, which is you guys and your careers and how we can help you get where you want to go in the fastest, most productive, most efficient way.
Yay, and I'm Pam Foster, Director of Training here at AWAI. I started out with AWAI back 15 years ago, believe it or not, almost 16 now. I was in a corporate cubicle, not really enjoying life very much, and I knew there must be a better way to make a living as a writer, and I discovered AWAI, and I have I've had the best ride with them. And in 2015, I joined as a full-time staff member. Yay! And
very good day for AWAI.
Oh, well, I get to do what I love every day. I get to teach and write and help you guys and enlighten you on what the opportunities are. And it's just a joy every day. And I work with amazing people like Katie.
And the thing is, Pam, that is so great. You've never lost sight of you're so connected to where people are at every stage of their career, especially that just getting started. And you know, Pam she had the corporate, then she went freelance, then she, and now she has a hybrid. She's with us full time, but she still does her client work. She has, and she's lived in all these fabulous places over the times. I mean, you have so embodied our intention with AWAI and are just the living embodiment, I just said that word, of all the potential and all the opportunity. And you're so tied to that. And I just think that you're always thinking of everything that we do. You have your writer hat on first. What does this really mean in the world of being either a freelance writer or a staff writer, or so it's really wonderful, and it's such a benefit for all of us.
Aw, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, I mean, what I love to do is keep my eye at all times on what's going on out there in the world of opportunities for writers. It's changed a lot in the past year, as you can imagine, but
like exploded. That would be one way of describing the change.
Change for the better. Change for the big wide world of. Everybody went online, they had to, and so they need writers who get it, and that's you. So we're going to talk about those opportunities, and I'm going to let Katie go ahead and talk about them.
Yeah, let's jump in. And Pam, I appreciate if you would change the slides for me. So if we have a few little awkward next or whatever, you guys are so easy. You're good. You give us some leeway with this technical stuff. But like Pam said, we know there are opportunities out there. There's more now than ever. And especially at this time of the year, let's focus in on the paths that are out there. And then let's even focus more on the fastest paths for you right now to get started as a writer. It doesn't mean you have to do these forever, but this is going to get things started. And that's the magic here, because once you get started, things just snowball, and your career is going to take you places you didn't even think about, that you can't even imagine right now. So that's what we're going to hone in on right now. And as Pam said, we're keying in on 3 of what we feel are the most accessible, the most in demand, and the quickest project types for you to focus on.
All righty. So
here we go. So these are the 3 that we're going to be talking about. We're really building them up here. There's single project type. Like, for instance, these ads right here are all for bloggers. So if you say, hey, I want to get started, within the next 15, 20, 30 days, I want to focus in on being a blog writer. So that's part of this criteria of the project types that we're going to be talking about. It's a single project. It's something that can be learned quickly. Everybody nowadays knows what a blog is. Most companies have them. They're very easy to identify where they fall in the content copy continuum, which is something that we talk a lot about in the AWAI method. Companies need blogs. They need this type of content to establish relationships, to build trust, and to, as part of their overall marketing strategies. It's not just some like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have this? Or this is something that isn't done intentionally. These are done very intentionally. So companies know they need them. They know what they are. They know what the going rates are. So it's not any big mystery there. These are short projects. You could do like, let's say for one client, you could do a month's worth. Let's say it's 5 or 10. You could do those all at one sitting, basically, because they are short, somewhat formulaic. And there's so many writers that are already doing this. You're not breaking ground. You're not having to really sell anybody on this idea. Companies know they need them. So that's the criteria for these 3 projects that we're going to be talking about today. So, okay, little reality. We're talking about fast. We're talking about efficient. We're talking about, we use the word easy, but we all know there is no easy button. There are skills that you have to learn. You still have to do the work. You have to be constantly learning. You have to be getting input so that you have ideas. So that means you have to be curious about whatever the subject is that you want to write about, or the companies that you want to write for. You want to know what those particular audiences are thinking about, dreaming about, interested in. What are the sites that they go to? What are the Facebook groups they're involved in? What are the conversations? What's the language? You want to be part of this. And, and that's why these 3 that we're going to be talking about fit so nicely, because every company, every organization needs all 3 of these. And it could be something that you're already involved in, that you already know all the insider lingo, that you already know what people care about because you care about it. Could be hobbies that you have. Could be something from your professional world. It could be just causes that you believe in. It could be anything that you're interested in. And if there's communities talking about it, then there's opportunities for you. And then the last thing is, the companies don't necessarily come to you. Yeah, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to get the skills, I'm ready to go, and then say, all right, let's go. You do have to be marketing yourself. You do have to put yourself out there. You have to let everybody in your world know that I'm a blog writer. I'm these 3 things that we're going to be talking about, and be proud of it. And make sure that if somebody comes to your LinkedIn profile, they know that you offer this particular skill. If you, well, anyway, as we get into it, we'll talk about more ways of doing it, but you just can't turn that part off. That as really any type of writing that you want to do, creating a freelance business, it is a business. So you do have to be thinking about that marketing aspect at every day, basically. Okay, so the first path that we're going to focus in today is emails. Okay, so I mean, how many emails do you get a day, and from how many different companies? And when you just think about, let's see, there are, I mean, all these stats are so great. Welcome emails are incredibly effective. On average, 320% more revenue is attributed to them. Consumers purchase through email, spend 138% more. I mean, these are, you need to read these. Believe me, your clients, the companies that you want to write for, they know all these stats. They know how effective emails are. They know that it is critical to their business, that they are communicating with their potential customers, their existing customers, or customers that they even want to get back. And email is just the accepted form nowadays. So the thing that's so great about emails from our perspective and for your perspective is that these follow the architecture that we teach you, especially in the AWAI method. You use all of the copywriting skills that you're learning and content writing skills that you're learning. You make a promise, you paint a picture, you provide proof, and you give them a little push to take an action. Emails don't necessarily have to do the selling. A lot of times the email's job is just to get them to click to go to another page that either where they sign up for something or where they actually sell something. So the email's job is very intentional. And it's things that you already know, that you're already learning. These are things that can be done quickly. This is just like I was mentioning about blogs. Most clients don't ask you just to write one email. They're going to ask for a 3-part series or a 5-part or 7 or maybe more. So that, so one sale is really times 3, 5, or 7. They're usually very short. And so you can do them quickly. Once you're in the groove and once you're comfortable with the client and you know the product so well, these can be turned around very quickly. And just reading these stats over here, clients know the ROI that they deliver. And the other thing that's so great about emails, clients measure every single part of it. They can measure how many people opened the email. They measured how many people clicked at what point. And so all of that, first of all, it's super interesting and it's super fun to be part of that, but it gives you a roadmap to follow of what this particular audience, what their behavior is. So it's just kind of you're not starting necessarily with just a blank piece of paper. There are intentions. Emails are very intentional. There's a structure that's very easy to learn and to follow, and they're just effective. So and they're never going to go away. As we all sometimes say, oh, another email. But the fact is, we're looking for the next email. We want that information. We want to know about the next sale. We want to know about what's coming next. We want that connection. So this is one of these things that the more a company mails, the more they need. So that's why we love email. So your goal, like I said, these are very intentional. It's to get the reader to open it. And there are techniques, there are strategies for how to do these things that you can learn, things that we teach. Then it's to engage them. It's to say, oh, you know what? I want to know more. Or, yeah, that's interesting. Or, it's to get some kind of engagement. Then it's to take an action. And like I said, it's not usually to actually click and make a sale. Sometimes it is, but in most cases, it's really just give them enough information, engage them enough to get them to a longer sales presentation. If it's a video or a sales letter or a web page or some other piece of content. So again, the it's not a huge mountain that you're pushing up it's not a huge boulder you're pushing up a mountain. It's one really important piece of the marketing chain. And if you got good at this, you really could be as busy as you wanted to be.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in. I grabbed these examples here. Opt-in Monster, which is a cool website. It measures what's working out there in the world, and then it reports on it. And they had a blog called 101 Email Subject Lines.
Oh, I love it.
Subscribers can't resist. And so this little set here was the urgency aspect of a subject line, where it's like, uh-oh, your prescription is expiring, or you're going to miss out on something, or today only. Those are so effective, and those are the kinds of things you can learn to do for clients, which is really fun.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, so we touched on this, but like I said, the goal of the email is to get some kind of action, and it could be as simple as just, hey, I want a free trial of something, or it can be, yes, I want to make an appointment, or oh yeah, this video sounds fun, or this looks interesting, I want to watch this video, upgrade a service, register for an event, all of these things here, and there's more too. But the point is, they're usually part of a bigger campaign. They're very intentional, and there's never just one.
Right, that's really cool.
So again, we have, so that was, I was talking about basically on the persuasion, the before a sale happens. But companies also use emails after the sale to engage their clients or their customers. So it could be they send an email with some great news, or some great tip, or announcement, or something big that's happening, or something that's related to customer service. So those emails are written by copywriters as well. There's welcoming, there's the whole onboarding, which is once a prospect becomes a buyer, then you want to bring them into your fold. You want to let them know all the things that are available to them. You want them to know you want to set up the experience that they're going to be having, and you want to just cement the relationship. So those are usually done by emails. And there's, again, it's never just one. It's always a series. So pretty much all of these things that you're seeing on the screen here are multiple email project types. And that's something else to be thinking about. You're not just going in with a one shot. And these valuable tips and news, like for that kind of example, that content can oftentimes be multi-purposed as well too, which we'll talk about in the next couple examples. So some of the ideas and copy that you write for emails can also be repurposed other places as well. So there's just so many benefits to it, and there is some structure and some techniques that you need to learn, but you really can do that quickly and be ready to start marketing your service as an email copywriter. So the earning potential, again, keep in mind that you're usually not just writing one, and companies can pay, between $100 and $500 per email. So, you can do the math there if it's a 3-part series. They're usually under 800 words. Sometimes they're much shorter. And frequency depends on the clients, but like I was saying, it doesn't end. It's not like a company sends an email and then like, okay, we're out, we're done. They're already have the next one planned, and they need the next one and the next one and the next one. So how to find these email projects? I would start by, everything's going to start by what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, what you're excited about, what you have some insight, some particular connection to. I would start with there for any of these projects that we're going to be talking about. And, you probably already are signed up to receive emails from companies that you're interested in, but think about who are your ideal clients. Be sure that you're on their list, study them. Not only are they great learning tools, but they'll give you insights into the conversation that they're having. You'll get a feel for who they come from and what's the vibe, what's the style, what's the voice. And think about, are there any things that you, as somebody that's interested in this, that they're not covering, that there's something that you would like to know more about, or there's something that you have to add to the conversation that they're having. So, pay attention to all of that, then write them a sample email and let them know what you have to bring to this conversation, what you have to offer. The email basically is selling you, but as we know as writers, it's really all about them. And how can you help them connect with their audience in either how they already are or add to whatever it is that they're already doing. It really can be as simple as that. And, as far as finding out who to send the email to, we do get into that later. But basically you can, if you can't find it out on their website or through LinkedIn or something like that, it's basically going to be a marketing director, maybe the owner. I would get in touch with somebody and just says who manages the email campaigns, and then write them an email.
Yeah, and what's neat in this example here, I don't know if it's super readable, but this person is applying or sending an email out where they want to offer their services to a company that's doing online learning. And what is cool about this email, it says, I was a high school teacher for 22 years. Now I focus on writing marketing content for training in online learning companies. I use my experience as an educator and an avid proponent of online learning to deliver persuasive writing that hits the mark. So it's a beautiful blend of who I am, but what does this mean to the person you're writing to?
Yes.
Wow, that's a match for us, because that we're doing online learning. He's obsessed with online learning. He can clearly write a great email. So that would be very enticing to a marketer who needs some help making.
And this is a perfect example, and plus it makes it very clear early on that they know this isn't just some canned letter that they're sending out to everybody. They're familiar with the company. They know what they're doing, and it's short because it needs to be short. The person that's reading it doesn't have a whole lot of time, but if that was sent to me, I would definitely want to connect with this person and at least have a conversation, get things started.
Yeah.
All right. So now number 2, which we've touched on, is blogging. And everybody has a blog. Everybody knows what it is. It's not something that you need to really sell anybody on. And this is more on the content side. As far as the emails, emails are closer to the sales side. They're kind of right in the middle. Well, they actually are on both sides of it. But blogs, they're very conversational. They're usually have tips or something helpful. They're not outright selling. They're more educational, and a lot of times they have great storytelling. The goal is just to say, hey, everybody out there, this is us. This is what we talk about. This is who we are. If you like this, come on in. We got a lot more for you. These are recurring. You never just have one blog post. Every business needs one. If they don't already have one, it's on somebody's list. We got to get a blog started. And again, we got some great tips over here. And the thing about blogs is what do I want to say? I don't want to say the sky's the limit, But the amount of topics that you can talk about is so broad and is so changing. I mean, you could just, I could think, like, let's just say a landscape design company. You know, you could have blog posts about for people building a house, and you know what they need to know when they go to hire a landscape designer. There could be a blog post of what to plant in February in Florida. It could be about how do I take care of the chintz bugs that are eating up my lawn. The 10 things to know when creating an orchid farm. You know, there's so many things that you can touch on, and even if they've touched on them before, there's new twists to them. And then there's also the whole news aspect when you take in current events. Like, you know, for instance, if you were writing for an accounting firm, or you know, a CPA that has a blog for their customers. You know, there's so much information that's needed right now as far as how did, you know, COVID impact how I prepare my taxes, or what are there extra benefits or deductions or things that I need to know, or what's the best time of year to do that? You know, so many different things. I think if you come up with a company that you're really interested in, you spend 10 minutes just brainstorming what are topics that are relevant to right now that this audience would be interested in. You'll come up with 5-10 easy, and you could do that really every week, just taking into account kind of what's going on in the world, what's going on in this particular industry. You know, what are updates? What news? How does news impact the conversations that they're having? You know, Rebecca tells a story that her pediatrician has a blog, hasn't been updated since May, because I'm sure they're just so busy, just like companies that are thriving right now are so busy that they can't even think about this. But she says there's nothing on her pediatrician's blog about questions that parents have as far as COVID and their children. Well, you could come up with 5 topics easily there and just present them to this place, and you know, they'd be so grateful, and their customers would be so grateful. So I think you can take that little example and apply it to any industry, any niche, any organization, any cause, any group that has a blog that you would like to write for. Present them with some ideas like that, and I bet she'll get a call back.
I just wanted to point out a couple of the statistics in particular, because it really spells opportunity for you. One of them is 64% of B2B or business to business marketers outsource blog copywriting. That's you. They're going to outsource to you. They don't have anyone on staff who can do this, so they need to find writers to help them. Another one that I love here is that 57% of marketers say they've gained customers specifically through blogging, which is so powerful. And then 53% of marketers say blogging is their top content marketing priority. And why is that? Because I didn't highlight number 70, but marketers who have blogs get 67% more leads than those who don't. So even if you know a company or a client that you're even working with now, tell them, you know, where's your blog? You should have a blog. This is an important thing to bring in traffic. And then finally, 60% of B2B marketers reported that they struggle with creating engaging content.
Because they're not writers. That's not their business. Their business is selling software. Their business is providing accounting services. They're not focused on this. They don't have people on staff to do this. And by being that source for them, just that taking that off their plate, it's so appreciated. And they don't even, you know, they're not even going to realize how great it is until it gets going there. But you're solving a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
So the mission of a blog is to be just a great source of information. Either, like I said, either educating about whatever the topic is, or bringing to light new news, new information, tying it to what's going on, what's on people's minds, what's going on in the world. That's where people go to learn. It's a common research tool that everybody uses right now. They educate, they help, they solve, they enlighten. That's from the customer's perspective. That's from the reader, the end users. But from the company's perspective, it qualifies the people that are coming to them. They already know that they have an interest. They already know that they have some level of understanding. They can continue that conversation. If somebody was interested enough in what was written in the blog to click to learn more or to click to do something, they've started a conversation that they can then continue. So it just naturally leads to the next step in this multi-step process that every marketer is aware of, is practicing, needs help with.
And I just wanted to point out the example here. I just happened to type into Google how to, and things that dropped down, because I did this just recently. I don't know why Cook the Perfect Turkey came up first, but the second thing was how to keep child entertained during COVID. Aha. So when I selected that one, look at all these clever bloggers on the right that wrote articles about that. And I use the word blog and article interchangeably pretty much these days. Yeah. They do blur across. So if you have a client that says, can you write some articles? It's pretty much the same strategy as writing a blog. Yeah. But all of these companies, 101 ideas to keep your kids busy during coronavirus. Help your kids stay healthy and busy and happy. I mean, these are great resources for parents. And if they're doing anything like selling children's learning and enrichment products, this blog would lead them to learn about the company. And that's the whole mission here. So,
but they're already warmed up. They're already open to the conversation. I mean, they have been proactive in searching this information. So that's the type of prospect that companies want coming to their site. They're already kind of like, they want to know more. So blogs work best, like just these are all things that we've been talking about, when they appeal to, they have a relevant headline with a search keyword or phrase. And this is what you'll learn as you're working with your clients. They'll tell you what it is that they want, you know, what the end goal is. So for instance, 10 tips for getting clients and building your writing business. Oh, written by Pam Foster.
Hey.
so we know that people that are interested in copywriting, that are interested, that could be potential AWAI members, they want to know about getting clients. They know that they want to know about building a writing business. So Pam actually just knows that, and we may not have, and so, well, I don't want to confuse you or make this seem too complicated that you have to include those words in the headline, but we know that that's the end goal with somebody that's looking for a business, start a writing business, but they may be concerned about how do you actually do that. So when she wrote this, that she included those terms in that headline. But the goal is you want to be in a blog specifically, you want to be pretty specific and direct in what the person is going to get out of their time reading this blog. These are things that people search for. So this isn't a time for clever or mystery or, hoping that they figure it out. You want to be very direct. I mean, Pam, since you wrote that, I should say if you have anything to.
Sure. So the reason I mentioned the search phrase is because when I just showed you how to entertain kids during COVID, That is the exact phrase people are putting into Google. And so if your client or you have a blog post that says, here are ways to do this, then it's a perfect match, and more blog posts would be found on Google if you make it a perfect match. And so this is just one example of something they call the listicle, which is 12 tips. And we basically interviewed 3 top marketers in our world and then reported on what they suggest. So that's kind of cool because it's not just one voice, it's a bunch of different tips on how to grow your business. And the second bullet, of course, is when you're writing a blog post, whether it's for you or a client, you want to answer common questions or common problems people are searching for solutions for online. Again, matchy. It's a beautiful thing.
Right. And your clients will provide you with that information. You know, when you're approaching somebody, you want to kind of induce and kind of guess and kind of know from intuitively what you think they would. But once you get into it and once you get hired, the clients will tell you, these are the top concerns our folks have. These are the top questions that we get. These are the top obstacles we have to come, or these are the top selling points. So you'll have that to work with, and then you just go to town with all these kind of great fun information pieces. It could be a listicle, it could be a story about somebody that has had success or seen their life improve because of it. It could be really facts and data heavy. It could be, there's so many ways of doing this, but the thing is, you want to answer a problem, solve a question, show a path. That's huge. People want to say, okay, how do I solve this? How do I get from here to there? Yeah. And, so it has to be practical. It has to be valuable. That people need to feel like, wow, I got this from a free article here that I found on Google. What will I get if I actually engage with this company? Stories, steps, again, as easy as possible. Conclusions, takeaway. Okay, now here's what you do. Here's what you do next. Do these 3 things by next week. Those kind of things. And you do want to have a call to action, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a sale. Ask for a sale. In most cases, it's learn more, and it'll take you to the website or a landing page or something else that does then kind of switches more into sales mode.
Great.
And so,
yeah,
we covered some. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about product reviews. That's a huge, really popular for blogs. Roundups, trends, all of those things are great fodder for blog options.
Yeah, I grabbed this example of a gym wear blog where they have different topics. They do interviews with athletes. And then I like the 10 genius gym clothing laundry hacks.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so you can have
fun with that. Sure.
Super relevant. It's super relevant to that audience.
Yeah. So you can, they don't have to be super serious. You can have some fun with it, but you don't want to lose sight that you have to provide helpful, useful, informative action steps, these kinds of things. You don't want to lose sight of those. All right. So Pam, I'm going to turn this over to you now, and you're going to talk about a blog on steroids. So why don't you take us home here?
Well, when you think about blogs, you usually think of a single page on a topic that is a wonderful page that will help the visitor solve a need or find out how to do something or get an answer to a question. But there's also something called an SEO magnet blog post, which is actually a series, or I want to call it a chapter-based blog post with multiple sections. This has become a very incredible way to bring more traffic in and stand apart as an authority on a subject. So this is an AWAI post on the ultimate guide to SEO content writing, search engine optimization. And it's really our best effort to be thorough and authoritative on what you should be learning and can do as an SEO writer. And so it's extremely detailed. We have chapters, and it links to products and services in our company where you can learn more about becoming an SEO copywriter. But even as a standalone, it provides tons of tips, examples, how-tos, and you end up walking away with such good information. We're going to be doing that with some other topics because we are really the global experts on how to be a copywriter. That's really what our mission is and what we live and breathe every day. So putting out content like this, I have another example. When I was searching one time for what are probiotics, I was just curious to learn about them. And the results in Google were, a WebMD article, a Johns Hopkins, a Mayo Clinic. And then this guy, there was a doctor, a single practice doctor in North Carolina who'd written a big, huge, amazing web page about probiotics. And he showed up among all those heavy hitters. And that caught my attention more than the heavy hitters because the heavy hitters were sort of clinical and formal and boring, frankly, where he was like showing videos and infographics and pictures and lively conversation. It was incredible. So the power of even a little company, beating the Goliaths out there in Google search results can be managed by you as a writer to put forth something like this. And it's amazing. It's just a strategy that so few companies take that it can really pay off big time. So I just wanted to mention what that was all about. And if you want to Google our, go on our website and just put the ultimate guide to SEO content writing, you'll find this multi-chapter SEO magnet blog approach. I wanted to bring that up because not many people know about it.
Yeah, and it's a well, I know you're going to get to this, but
yeah.
Okay, well.
Yes. So typical blog posts, the lowest, maybe for a tiny company that you want to work with and help them out, maybe $150 to $200 a post. I think that would be your minimum. And then you can grow up to $800 a post depending on length and the work involved and everything. And then the SEO magnets you can earn $3,500, $5,000 because it's a multi-chapter blog situation. So you're writing like 6 posts in one. So it's really a great gig. And it's so typically Google likes to have content be 1,000 words or longer for them to consider it enough content to be valuable to the people who are searching. And then the frequency for a blog is really dependent on the client. Some do every day. It's amazing. I don't know how they do that. John Morrow does an everyday blog post, but he's got a team of people putting out content. Most companies in the mid-range might do 1 a week or 2 a month. But the big great thing is it's a wonderful ongoing gig for you because you can't just do 1 blog post and go, okay, that's it, I'm done. No, every frequency, it's going to be going on and on. And you can earn even more than those per post rates if you help the company develop an editorial calendar for the year or for the quarter based on what's going on in the market, what potential customers are worried about, what's timely right now. You can become that virtual partner for your client, really thinking about what's important to their audience. So lots of earning potential there. I do blogging or have done blogging for a veterinary equipment company, and we would do 2 posts a month. And they stopped printing an expensive catalog every year, a color catalog that they used to mail out, because their blog posts would bring in immediate traffic, immediate calls for, I would blog about equipment and how it helps the veterinary practice, and they would get calls right after that. I want that exam room table, or I want that instant cleaning sink, or things like that. So it really is a powerful tool. That's why so many companies love it and why it works so well. So I just wanted to run that by you. Now, how to land blog projects is, there are a few ways. You can start your own blog. So this little example here, I used to own a website called petcopywriter.com, and it's now owned by a veterinarian who took it over for me. But what I did, and it worked so well, it was like 80 to 90% of the way I brought in potential leads for my writing services, is I would blog about things that marketers in the pet or vet industry care about. They don't have time every day to see what Google's doing, or how to write a great email, or how to put together a newsletter, or anything like that. They just don't know. So I would take a topic, like, mobile responsive is going to be critical in 2021 for Google search, something like that. But then I would take it and flip it to, why is mobile responsive important for your veterinary business in 2021? So I would blog to the market I want to attract, which is clients in that niche. And I could come up with a million topics because, as studiers of copywriting, as you study copywriting, marketing, content tips and tricks, you can then write about those to a market you want to attract. Steve Maurer, who is in industrial manufacturing, he has articles on his website about marketing for industrial manufacturers. See how that works? So that is something you can do as a writer starting today on your own website, or you can even post things on LinkedIn if you want to, if you don't have a website yet. And then follow and comment on blogs that you like. If you're focused on writing for the health industry, follow health blogs and comment on them. And then recommend blogging to companies you know. Even if you are just starting out, some companies, right? The local florist, the local restaurants, the local accountant. I've been writing my accountant's newsletter, which I'll talk about in a minute, for 25 years. And we do it on trade, kind of. He does my taxes, I write his material, his marketing material. So there are lots of ways to approach companies and say, look, if you're not blogging, man, I can help you big time and it'll be so worth it. So that's my advice there. Now, speaking of newsletters, that's our next big, number 3, fastest project to get going on. And I'm going to explain why. And the category, we call it e-newsletters, but some companies, like my accountant, are still sending out a print newsletter. They just want to do that. And then they post the PDF on their website as well. But they want companies, a lot of companies don't use, small businesses especially, don't use mail anymore. So by using mail, the accountant stands out and their newsletter gets read and it gets rave reviews. So they want to continue with that. But everything I'm saying here is going to be whether it's online newsletter or a print newsletter. Why do we love them? Well, once a customer is a customer with a company, you don't stop communicating with them. You need to continue communicating with them. And it's a proven way to stay in touch with customers. Customers love reading newsletters. Few statistics. I know they're little. I'll try to read a couple of them.
They're good, though.
Yeah. Okay, so the Washington Post newsletters average a 30% open rate, and 1440 Media routinely earns a 50% open rate. Wow, that's amazing. Now, some other stats, let's see. I'm trying to find like a really good one. Personalized news alerts are really helpful when they're super relevant to what those customers want to know about. So if you love the company, like there are companies I love and I'm a fan, and I will open their newsletter for sure every month. I get it. I want to open it, see what's new. Yeah. There are also authorities in the marketing world who have amazing newsletters, like Ann Handley, who I can't wait to get her newsletter because it's so interesting and helpful. There's another one called The Click, CLIKK, by Russ Henneberry. Another fantastic. Oh, it's fantastic and it's fun. I can't wait to get that because it's full of great stuff I need in my life, right? And that's the goal. That's the goal of other types of newsletters.
And Pam, we're talking like in our marketing world, but every industry, there are chiropractors who are like, I can't wait for Chiropractic Weekly to come in, or, there's dog groomers. There's every industry has this group of people that's hungry for this information.
Absolutely. Like in the veterinary space, again, which I work in, there are a few different pet industry and vet industry newsletters that I can't wait to see and understand what's happening now. Because, you know, as you can imagine, vet practices have had to change everything about the way they operate now. And so keeping their clients informed and keeping that industry informed is the mission of different newsletters that are put out there. And then for you, the writer, once you start writing a newsletter or e-newsletter for a client, again, you can set up a monthly retainer deal where you're writing it every month for them and you're earning income you can count on every month. Like I said, I've been doing my accountant's newsletter for 25 years. I know every quarter, it's a quarterly, I'm going to be writing that and earning a certain fee. And, you know, I can count on it until the cows come home. We just had our 100th issue.
That accountant would rather have root canal surgery than to have to write an email
right.
or a newsletter every quarter. But he knows it's an important part of his business that he is happy to outsource. I guarantee it.
Definitely. Yeah. They're not marketers. They don't want to be. So that's where I help them. Now, the purpose of newsletters are not just to stay informed, but also to just keep reminding customers that they are the experts, that you're in good company, you've made a wise decision to be a customer of ours. And so we want to keep you happy and informed. It can also turn prospects into customers. If you're doing a free e-letter or e-newsletter, if you're writing that, then you're going to offer lots of reasons for someone who's reading the free version to go ahead and start paying for great services, products, or special editions or special insider stuff. So this is my accountant's newsletter. Like I said, they sent out a print one. They send out a print one every quarter, but they also post the PDFs here. And it just establishes them for their local market as the firm to go to if you're a small business or an individual. There are lots of big accounting firms, but these guys have carved out a niche where they serve individuals and really small businesses. So that's the purpose. And then your role as the writer is you get to have a lot of fun. If it's a topic you're interested in, I can't think of anything more fun than this. This is a veterinary industry newsletter. You will research the industry. You'll be staying on top of what's going on. You'll develop an editorial calendar. Then you write the content. You might be interviewing people. You might be doing some more research on a topic. Your client may give you some things, like with the one I used to do articles for. She would say, okay, there's something going on about dog wash facilities that are in these apartment complexes and how that's becoming a trend. Okay, I'm going to write about how, you know, new apartment complexes are adding a dog wash facility to attract more renters. So it's fascinating.
And Pam, you know, first of all, many times you get to talk to cool people.
Yep.
And it's building your network. You now have a connection with these things that you're learning about, these people that you're talking about, these new things. It's such a great source of input for ideas and connections for you. And the other thing is, what is happening in the pet care, the vet industry, can be applied to, you know, other industries as well. So you're learning things that are very applicable across niches and different companies.
Yep. And then you can also, if you want to, if you just want to be the writer, that's fine. But you can also be the person, if you choose to, is to set up the list, set up the newsletter delivery platform like MailChimp or Constant Contact, and then disseminate the newsletter, do the design. It's totally up to you. If they have no one to do any of that and you have an interest in learning it, those systems like MailChimp or Constant Contact are pretty easy to use. Once you get familiar with it and they have tutorials and everything, you can charge extra to do that every time.
But I know we're going to get this question though. Okay. For all these things that we've talked about, for blogs, for emails, for newsletters, you do not have to lay out the graphics or do any of the technical stuff. This Pam's just saying this is an extra add-on that you can, but you're just going to do it in a Word doc, turn it over, and then they will take it from there, 90% of the time. So don't let that be a barrier or a worry, or, if you can type in Word, you can do this.
Right. And that's all I do. I just send them Word documents, because I being full-time at AWI, I don't have time to get into those back-end platforms. But so yeah, I don't think the client may ask you if you do that. And if you just don't, you might find a resource for them.
Yeah.
So, but the copy is the key to your value to them.
Yes.
All right. Just very quickly, as Katie said, there are newsletters for every niche, whether it's business to consumer, business to business, nonprofits, and fundraising. I'm just showing you a few examples here. There's a human resource one here. I like Peak of Flight. This is for a rocket fans, who have home rockets and go out in the field and shoot off rockets and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty fun. And then there's like Live, Eat, Learn for people who are interested in food. There's an HVAC newsletter for contractors in the heating and cooling world. Every niche could use. Niche. Yeah. It's
every hobby, every sport, every political world. There's so many newsletters there. Fundraising, religious, everything. Anything you can think of.
Anything you can think of, there is a need for all of these pieces that we just talked about, really. They're all related to communication. Very quickly, earning potential with newsletters. It depends on how long it is, but you can earn maybe $800 to $2,000 per issue, depending on how much work you have to do, the length of it and everything. So that's pretty good, because once you get in the flow, it might take you like 3 hours total. That's a pretty good hourly rate, right? Now, again, newsletters can be monthly, weekly, daily. Some put out daily. This newsletter here is a daily newsletter about the music streaming business every single day. Wow. If you are involved in that, you're going to make some money. And then again, you can earn more to set up the whole newsletter system or design and flow from scratch if you want to, only if you want to. How to land them? Well, start with who you know. Like I said, you probably know a local business, like my accountant. One day I said to him, can I help you with your website and your communications? And they're like, oh, please. Yes, please help us, because we don't do this very well. You probably know a business or 5, that you can start talking to right away. And then you might want to focus on a niche industry that, like I said 50 times already, I focus on the pet and veterinary world, because that's where my heart is, but I also know it really well. And so it's easy for me to work in that industry. And I think that would be a smart thing for you to do too, but don't fret about it if you don't feel compelled to do that. It's just a great way to figure out what newsletters are out there in that world, so you can follow up. Review industry newsletters. I just happened to put here Harvard Health Publishing. Look at all these newsletters. They've got a whole bunch of different newsletters on different topics and interests. It's amazing. They don't just put out one, they put out 7. I didn't even have the whole page there. Somebody has to write all that stuff, by the way. That could be you.
Every month or every week.
That's right. And then you can, based on what you're seeing out there as newsletters, you could put together samples. Just, I once applied for a job at LL Bean for a catalog copy, and they said, can you do a sample of catalog copy that would be appropriate to us? And I said, sure. You can just write a sample, and then you have something to show a potential client. And then there are 2 templates you could propose to do for clients, and that you use over and over again. And one of them is to take over an existing newsletter and just write the copy every month, or to start a whole new newsletter for a client that that doesn't have one. So those are just some tips.
Or maybe you even, instead of offering to take over, maybe it's just, can I contribute? And then you show your worth and your what you have to bring to the table, and it can grow that way.
That's a really good point, because AWAI, for example, has several newsletters that we put out regularly, and we have different contributors. So
always. We really count on that.
Yeah.
And I do want to,
sorry.
but I don't, okay, you go. I'll save my thought.
Oh, save your thought? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to say, but wait, there's more. So those are the three main paths, but we didn't want you to think that's all there is as far as jumping in and getting going with a client, especially if you have one already, or if you're talking to a small business you know really well. Other fast project paths could be online ads for Google or social media. SEO, it can be a fast path if you know, for example, a local business that doesn't have their local information anywhere on the website. That's a pretty quick win. Social media manager, gosh, I mean, every company needs to be out there in social media now, and a lot of people don't have someone on staff. So if you are a customer of theirs or a friend, you could absolutely offer to do their social media for them. And then website content audits is another skill you could offer. It's kind of a one project, one discrete project that could blossom into lots of opportunity for you with a client. And that's simply using a checklist to audit their website now and see what's missing and what could be working better for them.
All stuff that we teach and make really easy and set you up as all of these things set you up as an authority, an expert, a go-to resource for their marketing efforts. One thing I did want to say about the blogging, emails, and newsletters is that as I'm sure you figured out as we're talking about it, a lot of the content could be the same. And Pam said that use the example of the company that takes their e-letter and posts it as a PDF. Well, a lot of companies repurpose content that way. Mm-hmm. So that is another thing that you have going for you. If you come up with something that's great for, if you're writing the e-letter, well, hey, why don't we take part of this and repurpose it for the blog as well too? And there's ways of kind of mixing and matching and making the most of the work that you're doing.
Absolutely. Great. All righty. We're at the top of the hour, but we're just going to keep going and I hope you can stick with us because there's more cool stuff and then we want to answer your questions. So yeah, few more insights. Clients need you now. How many clients? Oh my gosh, opportunities abound. I mean, I on LinkedIn, on job boards, there is so much opportunity out there. So clients do not have time, the resources, or people who know what works. And once you show your skills to a client, they're not going to let you go because who else are they going to ask to do stuff? If you've done a nice job, you're in. So, and you can grow from there. Like I said, if you're starting out as a blogger, eventually you can say, okay, well, I noticed that your website's kind of dated. Can I optimize and update your website? And by then they'll have gotten to know you and like you and sure, what do you got? I just wanted to show you when I went to Indeed.com the other day and just typed in blogger, there were 631 jobs. That was just in one day. So it's endless. Where did I go where I saw 17,000 jobs, I think on LinkedIn for writer. So
companies need writers more than ever right now.
Yep. And so we want to give you some tips to help speed up the process for you, how to grab these jobs and go for it. And posted jobs or just talking to companies, business owners, somebody who might work in marketing that how to get going with this. So our suggestion, our advice is to focus. So pick one path to start with. It's really hard to learn three main project types all at once. So I would say if you want to pick blogging, learn blogging and focus on that and become the best darn blogger you can be, just to start out and get the ball rolling. And then you can add on other programs. Take a program that teaches skills and how to land clients. If you want to invest in yourself, as anyone, we're constantly needing to learn. I'm still learning because things change over time. So it's so worth learning those skills because then you can get out there and market yourself and land clients. Study successful examples, which you learn through training programs. Follow successful writers that you've come across. I mentioned Ann Handley and Russ Henneberry. There are many out there that are leaders in our industry that many of them are working for us. So check out our stuff too. And then you'll also know how to launch your business through any kind of a training program that includes that. And all of ours do.
Yes.
And then market yourself. Get out there on LinkedIn. Start talking to your neighbors who, run a small business. I have a neighbor down the street who has his own construction company. I could talk to him and say, how are you getting customers right now? And he might go, our website, but it's pretty lame. I can help you with that, right? And tell everyone what you do. I hear this so often when someone's starting out, if they just told people they know what they're doing now, like, did you know I'm writing now? I'm a blogger for companies. You might have someone say, oh my gosh, I know someone who needs that. Or that person. It
happens all the time.
All the time. All the time. I mean, if you ask our members who have gotten their foot in the door and started the ball rolling, it's quite often they just told someone they know what they're doing.
We had the one man that was at the bakery and saw that they were offering some kind of new gluten-free bread. He started talking to the baker, and now he's writing their website about the gluten-free bread products. I mean, that's how it can happen.
Yep. And you can do that on LinkedIn too. Reach out to people you already know and tell them what you're doing. You know people. Trust me, you know people. You've been around, right? You've had jobs, you've got friends. Connect with them and tell them what you're doing. Okay, and now we have some final thoughts. No matter what path you choose, we really encourage you to treat it like a business.
Absolutely.
So set goals so you stay on track. Like this week, I'm going to work on getting further in this skill. I'm going to finish a chapter in a training program. And I'm also going to brush off my LinkedIn profile and tell them I'm a writer. You know, just simple goals each week will take you very far. You'll suddenly look back and go, wow, I finished the course. I have a bunch of connections more on LinkedIn. I've actually gotten a client. And then immerse yourself in your topic. So if you're writing for the barbecue industry, immerse yourself in that barbecue industry and learn all you can. Connect with your target audience. Like we said, LinkedIn is an easy way to do that. And that's where business professionals are gathered, thousands of them every day. And then continue learning new skills so you can offer clients even more services. Like I said, if you start out blogging, then keep learning other skills you can offer that blog client. So with that, I think, we just want to mention a few resources for you on everything we talked about today, those 3 paths. We have a free article archive where you can search any of the things we talked about, like writing, blogging. If you just put in blogging, you're going to find all of our content about blogging, which all kinds of tips and how-to articles and things like that.
Fantastic. It's a gold mine.
And every month we do sessions like this on our Inside AWAI page. Right now we have more than 50 different topics we've covered, including how to break into an industry, what the opportunities are in different areas like web writing, B2B, and then we have how to market yourself and get your foot in the door with clients. So please check that out. It's just like this, lots of information, lots of QA that you'll learn from, and those are all free. And then I wanted to just mention training programs. If you do want to jump in and get skills right away on the 3 quickest things we talked about, we have an email copywriting program, a blogging program. I love that blogging program. It's freaking awesome. It has 10 different blogging superstars were interviewed and gave tips on what worked for them.
I mean, I'm really a big fan of the e-newsletter program as well, just because I've seen the success that people have had. I mean, people have had success with all of them, but just how really easy it is to get started. These are all great ways of getting started. And like Pam said, not only do we teach you the skills, but then we show you how to use those skills and leverage them and start making money, because that's why you're here, because you're running a business.
Right. So I don't know if we should leave this up while we ask questions so people can jot down the URL.
These links, when this is posted, these links will be live too. But yeah, sure. But we can leave that up.
Okay, just for a bit. Yes, we always record these sessions and post them, like I said, on the Inside AWI page. And they include the video and the slides. So you can go through and see, again, whatever you missed or didn't have a chance to jot down. So with that, I believe
let's answer some questions.
Question time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Hey, Pam. Hey, Katie. Thank you guys so much for kicking off another year of Inside AWAIs. Great stuff here. We do have a couple of questions from everyone on our streams here. We have Richard over on the YouTube channel who's asking, I get over 300 emails a day and I cannot read them all, of course. How do I rise above the rest?
Well, my advice, Richard, would be, you can do smart folders where they're filed automatically either by sender or by topic. If you go in, if you use Outlook, I'm assuming you use Outlook, if you go in, and that way you can at least decide which ones you want to focus on. And yeah, I mean, that's a lot of emails. Obviously, you can't do those. So I would weed through them. What are the ones that you're truly interested in, that are going to help you as a writer, and that you want to stay in touch with them. And I would weed out the rest, honestly. But one way of doing it is, if you have a folder, let's say, every email from XYZ company goes into that folder, maybe you look at it once a week, and then you can just go through them. And again, there's ways of organizing that and ways of managing it. But, seeing 300 a day would definitely be overwhelming. But you don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. You want to pick the ones that you want, and you want to realize that these, as a writer, since you're here with us, there are lessons to be learned, even if you're not necessarily a customer or going to be a customer. There's lessons you can learn that are going to make you a better writer.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We have another question about emails today from Laurent. Laurent is wondering how much of an email is strictly content and how much is design? So colors, fonts, images.
Do you want me to, for us, we don't have a lot of images or colors or that stuff in the emails that we send out. And it really depends company by company. But for you, I would just worry about the content. If you want to be an email writer, just worry about the content. You'll see by observing what companies do, you'll get a feel for that. But I wouldn't worry about having to do all that. Just focus on the words.
And it can vary from client to client. Yeah. It depends. Like we showed you different examples. Some of them are long and have sections to them. I want to tell you about these 3 things in this email. Or some of them are just short, single topic. Click here to learn more. So it really just depends on what the client typically uses in their branding.
Yeah, and emails are different than newsletters. Like as we talked about, the email's job is to move the reader to the next stage. So you don't want to bog them down there. Newsletters are a little bit different, where they do tend to have more graphics and more fuller information.
Perfect. Thank you. And kind of along those lines, Leslie was wondering, what's the difference between a blog and a newsletter?
Okay, I'll take this one. A blog is usually on a single topic, like 10 ways to crate train your puppy. I'm just making that up, but one topic. So the post will be very focused. A newsletter tends to have a number of articles, like I write my accountant's newsletter. Every quarter we talk about different topics related to your financial life. So we could have the lead be about the latest tax changes due to COVID, but we also may have something about your retirement income. We may have another article that says, meet our new staff members. So it's definitely brought more variety, and typically newsletters have variety where a blog post is single focused.
Awesome. Thanks, Pam. We did have a comment over here from Taz. Taz is saying, the thought of blogging for myself and others lights me up, and e-newsletters as well.
Excellent. Do it. You found your place here.
There, and there are 2 types of blogs you can do for yourself. One is you just want to blog about something you're a fanatic about, something that excites you every day. Like there's lots of dog bloggers out there, let me tell you. So they blog about things in their life related to dogs, and they have a lot of followers. And then advertisers love that they have a lot of followers. And so you can do some monetization by having links to products and things like that. Then the second kind of blogging you can do is to reach clients and potential clients that you want to work with. So you can help them, like I did with Pet Copywriter. I didn't blog about pets. I blogged about how pet companies can thrive with my help. So yeah, that's 2 types. But gosh, have fun, Taz. That's cool. And hi, Taz.
Awesome. Great stuff from Taz. Taz did say that they were just finishing up Pam's site content auditing course, and they learned so much.
Oh, man,
the beauty about this particular program is that you're learning a skill that companies need, and it invariably leads to more projects, because anything that you find that's missing on their site, legitimately, like, hey, I can do that for you. So that's kind of like a bonus that goes along with that.
Awesome, thanks. And I did just want to go back to Richard's earlier question. I think he was asking along the lines of, how do you rise above the emails in writing the emails? So Katie gave some great organizational tips, but if you're the one writing the emails.
Oh, like how do you stand out how does your email stand out of the sea of 300? Well, again, it's skill, there's techniques, there's definitely ways of doing it, but it has to be engaging. It has to be interesting. It has to be useful. It cannot be boring. It cannot feel mass produced. It has to feel personal. It has to speak to something that's important to the reader right then. I mean, these are all things that we teach you. I mean, it's the same with any kind of copy you're reading. People are bombarded with on every channel, every front. So you just have to get the skills so that you know how to rise above. There's no easy button there, but it's certainly doable.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Vicky on Facebook is wondering, is posting on LinkedIn okay versus having a separate personal blog?
Yes, I'm learning more and more about that. My only caution about using another platform is that you don't necessarily control who sees it, because Facebook and LinkedIn have their own algorithm on how they feed information to others and things like that. So I prefer having my own blog, and then I could link to it through Facebook or LinkedIn or anywhere. I could email a list that follows me and just say, hey, my new edition is out. That's what Ann Handley does. She emails us her, newsletter, and then, I lost my train of thought all of a sudden. But, there's nothing wrong. If you don't have a blog yet and you don't want to set up a blog yet, go ahead and start doing some posts on LinkedIn for sure. But ultimately, I think you want to own it on your platform.
That's good advice.
That makes sense, Pam. Thank you. More from our YouTube channel. Someone is wondering, what's the difference between a blog and a web page then?
Okay, first of all, I love your name, Fashion School. A web page is generally a static page that is about the company. So our services, our products, about us, FAQs, things like that are always there. They don't change much unless, you redesign the website or need to update some of the content. But those are static core pages. And then the blog is something that's frequent and timely and newsy. So it's more changing over time, more than a regular web page like our services are this, and this. That doesn't change so much over time. The blog is changing constantly and being updated.
Think of the blog as an ongoing conversation you're having. The web page is really like your storefront, and the blog post is the conversation that you're having.
Awesome, thank you. Our next question comes from Clarissa. Clarissa was wondering, how do you gauge how effective your emails and newsletters are? How do you ask your clients about KPIs?
Well, clients are happy to share that information. It's not secret. They want you to know, because they want you to learn from it. We share our KPIs with our team every day, basically, and then on every Tuesday we have an in-depth meeting about them. So you don't have to, I don't think that that's going to be a problematic thing. That's something that everybody knows what subject lines get the most opens, the most clicks, the most, all that stuff is so analyzed and studied. It's very statistically driven. And I mean, companies don't want to share that with their competitors, but they certainly want to share it with the people that are on the team that are part of it, because otherwise you're driving blind.
And KPIs are key performance indicators?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because some people might be going, what is that?
No, that's good. I'm glad you did that, because you clarified that.
Awesome. Thank you both. And a couple people have a similar question. Where would be a good place to start your blog? What platforms do you recommend starting a blog?
There are a lot of options these days. Some are really, I think, built to be drag and drop easy, and others are a little more complex. I don't really have a strong opinion on one or the other, because it's such a personal thing. Like if you're a little more tech savvy, one might work better for you. I actually, when I set up my blog, I'm not very technical, I'll be honest. I can't do any of that. And I don't want to spend my time doing that, because I want to write. So I actually hired a WordPress person to help me, and he set everything up and then just showed me how to use it. And I'm like, all right, I'm off to the races. And so it's so dependent on what you are comfortable with. There are, there's so many now. There's Shopify and websites 123, and Google has its, not Google, GoDaddy has a setup. It really depends. So you might want to do some digging on Google and just say, try to find out how the different ones work. Look at their tutorials. Usually they have videos on how our website works. That you do this and this. And if it seems comfortable for you, I'd go with that. Some of them include hosting built in. So you set up your domain name and your hosting all in one package. Others you have to, like if you go with WordPress, you have to find a host like Bluehost. There are other hosts, HostGator. So just do some legwork on that, and you'll find what's right for you.
Perfect. Thank you, Pam. And then a couple of people were also wondering, should you have a blog site linked directly to your website, or should it be a standalone site?
I had my WordPress person build it into my core website, petcopywriter.com. And if you go to that website today, you'll see it's part of the navigation. It's built in, even though it's not really part of the core site, but it's cleverly built in. I like that because then a potential client can see everything I offer at a glance, my services, how I work, who I am, and my blog. Now, if you're marketing yourself on a website, but you want to blog about a personal interest, you might want to have that be a separate site. Like if you travel and you want to blog about your travels, that's a personal interest website. And then your I want to work with travel industry clients website could link to that other blog, but it might not have to be built into that main blog. It's kind of a personal choice.
Great. Thanks,
These
Pam.
are great questions.
Yeah, everyone's firing off today. We did have another one from Fashion School Snitch, wondering if the blog changes so much, how do you do SEO? Would it be for long tail keywords at that point?
Okay, so SEO again is based on using phrases people are searching in Google for related to whatever you offer. So for me, it was tips.
Search engine optimization.
Yes, and for me, it was what do marketers in the veterinary world need to know? So every blog post was focused on a different topic related to what veterinary marketers need to know. Mobile friendly, video, using video, all that stuff. Blogs, once you post a blog article that's really great and it's optimized for a certain phrase, that thing lives on forever. So that is great. It's a great strategy for search, because once you post something, it's always going to be there, and you can even update it, every year or whenever you feel you need to. But let's say understanding your customer as a veterinary marketer is something that is evergreen. It's always going to be there. And if I write a great blog post with that copy involved, gosh, I wrote blog articles 2012, 2011, 2000. They're still up there.
So the SEO part, it's attached to the individual blog topic, the blog posting, not to the blog itself, not to Pam's blog. It's to the 10 to the different articles that Pam wrote to. So it wouldn't necessarily take you to the top of the blog, the most recent. It'll take you to the article you're interested in. Once you're there, oh, look at all this other stuff that's there. So that's kind of the difference there.
I'm glad you clarified that. And as far as long tail keywords, anybody who's listening here, there are short keywords like veterinary business, and then there are longer keywords like how do I get more pet owners to my veterinary business. That's a longer keyword. And sometimes it's very smart to use longer key phrases like that. You won't get as much traffic, but those people who typed all those darn words in there in Google are serious about finding answers. So it's very a good strategy to do both. And you might be the only one who has a great blog post on that subject if it's a longer phrase. So it's nice to have a mix of both.
Well, with that, Fran told me that was the last question for today. Okay. So thank you all for your time and your great questions. You guys get this. I know we're going to have some really successful email writers, newsletter writers, and blog writers that come out of this. So I'm excited to see what you do. Be sure and share your success with us. We want to be able to give you loud cheers and share your success with everybody else. And Pam, thank you. Great job.
My pleasure.
And thanks, Jade and Fran, for the behind the scenes work. And we'll see everybody next month.
Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.
Bye.